What?
Subscribe.
Subscribe. We'll highlight all that. Don't you worry.
I'm just
But of
saying,
course,
you gotta remind people.
Subscribe right now.
Subscribe.
subscribe. Of course.
Philadelphia, baby, you're gonna love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
All right, fellas, we got a lot to get to this week. A lot of Masters chatter. A lot of things that happened at Augusta, and so little time to go over all of the stories. But I want to give you my full recap of the Minecraft movie. This is a fresh review. I saw the movie from 7 to 9:30. I don't do drugs, but if I had one movie in my entire life to get high as a fucking kite to, it would be this movie. That it was so silly, stupid, funny that me, solely on adrenaline from a very long workday, a thing of nerds gummy clusters, and a bottle of water, was laughing my ass off at parts of this movie. Now, I'm not like, because I work in social media, I'm not a part of like the TikTok algorithm where I get trends. Like from the get-go, I never got like the people dancing on TikTok and stuff. I was always hot girls and golf tips. I swear to God, I don't know what my algorithm is. My friend tells me that apparently in the one scene when Jason Momoa fights the baby zombie on the chicken, it's the chicken jockey, and kids have been vandalizing movie theaters. I didn't know that this is a thing. So my coworker goes, "Oh, bro, chicken jockey," and I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And he shows me the videos, and so I text Kay and her friend. I go, "Guys, don't wear anything nice to the movies because you might get like soda spilt all over you." Thankfully, it was just like a bunch of like 7-year-olds who yelled "chicken jockey" and started clapping, because apparently it is now a rule on Long Island at local theaters, because they've been getting so much vandalism and just like defacement, that if you're under the age of 18, you need to be with an adult.
That's been a thing for a while here. Ours is if you're under the age of 16, past 6 p.m.
Well, but this is for a rated G movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, normally that's rated R. Like you have to.
Yeah, ours is the age of 16, past 6 p.m.
For any movie. That's crazy.
Any movie. To enter the movie theater, you need to be accompanied by an adult.
I'm surprised by that. I always thought it was because of just like rated R movies. That's crazy.
Yeah, me too.
They've established that. That's wild.
I think it's a lot of people like trying to sneak into movies without tickets.
That makes sense.
Just in general. So I think they're like cracking down on that. Also, I think you did the best viewing experience by having a bunch of 7-year-olds in your movie theater, because I've heard the younger the overall age demographic is in the theater, the more enjoyable of an experience the movie is.
I will say this though, there were a few 7-year-olds, like friends who like got together after school to go. They talked a little too much, but like it's from a 7-year-old, so like whatever. I understand. So Kay's friend left her phone accidentally on her seat, so they go back in after the movie ends, and I'm standing outside waiting. And like typically they have the trash can like parked right out front of the theater, and like no one ever really throws their shit out. But there's a guy with like giant bags, and they're like, "Oh, like give me your trash," to try and like avoid the idea of having to go in and do everything. And so the one guy who was also on the cleaning crew, the guy's telling him like, "Hey, like get in there, start cleaning," and he's like, "Man, I don't want to go in there." And they turn to me as I'm waiting, and they go, "How bad is it?" And I go, "Don't worry, it was just a bunch of 7-year-olds. Like, you're pretty good." There was like one row that had like popcorn everywhere, but like whatever. But it was nice. Apparently, they had the 5:30, the 5 o'clock showing. Like the theater's like a mile or a mile and a half away from like 2 big high schools. So apparently, all the high school kids went, and they caused a ruckus.
Yeah.
So that was the problem. Thankfully, the experience was good. The movie was funny. I'll say this. There's nobody on earth outside of Jack Black who could have been Steve. It was the perfect casting.
So here's my fun take, because I've been on this train on streamer season. Go subscribe. probably since 2021, and it's just continued to evolve and evolve and evolve. And it started when the Mario movie happened. Actually, started before that. Started with Detective Pikachu.
Yes.
Okay.
What a Detective Pikachu. What a great movie.
Detective
I watched that on
Pikachu
an airplane.
That movie's awesome. They gave you Pokemon cards when the movie came out in the theaters. Amazing.
Dude,
I still have sealed packs.
I will never forget. I left that movie theater and I had no desire to keep these Pokemon cards. So there were these like sixth graders who were like trading cards with like people. And I'm like, hey guys, don't want my cards? I'm like, no way, really? I'm like, yeah. They thought I was like Jason Momoa.
I had 2 movie-going experiences in my life where you got exclusive cards. It's the Pikachu movie and the original Yu-Gi-Oh movie. That shit was amazing. But
when was that?
That was the Yu-Gi-Oh movie came out the same day as Princess Diaries 2. So that walked so that Barbenheimer could run.
Hey, do you want to comment on the amazingness that is Princess Diaries 2? Julie Andrews, the Queen of Genovia.
We love Anne Hathaway, Princess of Genovia.
Absolutely.
But Detective Pikachu started this whole theory in my brain. Steve, you know how Marvel-pilled I am?
Yeah.
So it was Detective Pikachu. Then the Sonic and Mario movies have happened. Now Minecraft has happened. There's allegedly a Mega Man show/movie coming to Netflix. I'm fully convinced we are building out the greatest cinematic universe not named Marvel of all time, and it's the Super Smash Brothers cinematic universe.
But now, are all of these all of these properties are related?
Yep.
Through what?
They're all Super Smash Brothers characters. Pikachu, Mario, Sonic.
Yeah, they are.
Steve from Minecraft.
Sonic and Mario only meet in the Olympics.
That they do. Elite game series.
Sonic and Mario exclusively.
Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games.
They exclusively exist in the Olympic Village.
No, exclusively the Winter Olympics.
Oh, come on.
No, it started with the 08 Olympics, and then it was the 2012 Winter Olympics.
There you go.
I have both.
Sochi second. But by the way, real fast, can we acknowledge, guys, the 2010 Winter Olympics, when it was the second game, was in Sochi, Russia. So that also means that Soviet Russia exists in the Mario Sonic universe. All right, so in the original Super Smash Bros., Pikachu was a character in Smash Bros. But as the game expanded further, then Sonic became a character.
Yes.
No. Yeah,
Smash Brothers Brawl that Sonic came through.
Yeah, Melee had Pikachu and a couple of other
so there was the original
characters.
Super Smash Brothers that was like Nintendo 64.
Yeah.
Then there was Super Smash Brothers Melee, Brawl, and then the greatest Super Smash Brothers of all time.
So we need a Kirby movie.
We need a Kirby show.
Yes.
We need a buddy cop movie of Fox and Falco just in space. Tell me that wouldn't be incredible. We need because you already have the villain. Wolf was in Super Smash Brothers Brawl. There's your villain. It's Evil Fox. We need some sort of, and I've seen rumors, I don't know how true it is. We need a Legend of Zelda show, like so badly. That would fucking rock.
I did hear rumors of a movie based on Breath of the Wild, or like some sort of some older style game. Which, by the way, underrated best Zelda game is Wind Waker.
Yes, it's the goat.
It's the goat.
So you get that. The Mario movie gave you Mario, Luigi, Donkey Kong, Peach, Daisy, everybody under the sun.
Hold on.
So you have the whole Mario.
Rosalina was she
there? I don't know if she was in the movie.
No, I don't think so.
But you have so much. I mean, give me an Earthbound show with Ness and Lucas too. Like, come on,
dude. Just ice climbers, like everything.
Hit me with PK Fires all day. Give me a Pikmin type of show or something.
Oh,
Olimar. There's the semblance of a Super Smash Brothers cinematic universe, and I need it like I need oxygen to breathe.
You know what's crazy too? The idea too, like in this universe, you could do a space themed thing like Star Wars, you can have Samus.
Mhm.
You'll have Fox. You could also technically make Mario Galaxy within that spectrum.
That's how you bring Mario in to be the bridge character.
So, and then also technically,
Olimar.
if you remember from the second Sonic video game, when Shadow gets introduced, they are in space. Shout out to
Steve,
Maria.
You're picking up what I'm putting down.
There we
Steve.
go. Yes. By the way, this is like, I was talking the other day with my friends about like our like sexual awakenings, and I don't want to bring this up on this show because it's really weird and out there. But like, Sam from Danny Phantom was like one of them.
Mhm.
My one friend said Rouge from the Sonic games, and I'm like, that's a very, very
Brother.
strange. Yeah, that's a. Now I'm like, you like furries. That's like a very deep analog idea that I can't get behind at this very moment. But I kind of see it.
I get it. It's not my flavor of the week, but I get it.
Ethan, clip this. I'd be so happy to stir a debate on social media for this.
I
I'd be
get
ecstatic.
it.
I'd be ecstatic. Anywho, that's my review of this movie. Good movie. Concept was good. Wish I saw a cameo from the Ender Dragon. Sorry for spoilers. Didn't see one. But to put it into perspective to my friend Nicole, who has never, ever seen or heard of Minecraft, she's very, very out of the video gaming realm. She goes, what are the three main things that I need to know about Minecraft? I go, Steve is the founder of the game. You can go into the Nether, which is basically the upside down, but just in Minecraft world, and you can build freely, do whatever, and diamonds is the highest value metal in the game. She goes, all right, great, perfect. She walked out. She learned so much shit. Because, like, they do actually, like, explain for people who've never ever seen it, like largely like adults with kids, like, oh, like, don't look into the Enderman's eyes, what an Ender Pearl is. Like, you learn some funny-ass things. But I think the casting was good. I think Momoa, it's kind of a desperate cry for help for an actor who had a lot of promise and just seems to be like typecasted.
He'll be back. He's going to be in James Gunn's DC universe, so
as Aquaman again?
Yeah, but
as Lobo.
As Lobo, interesting.
He said that's his dream role. So,
but like truly, like it's the same thing as when I watched the Snyder cut of Justice League and I saw Jesse Eisenberg as Hannibal Lecter. I go, why is Mark Zuckerberg on my screen? I see Jason Momoa, and I immediately think, why is Khal Drogo and or Aquaman on my TV? That's just the instant reaction for me. It's the same thing with like, who was what's her name from Seinfeld? Louise Dreyfus.
Oh, yeah.
Like she constantly picks up that character or whoever it is. But otherwise, I think the other castings were tremendous in this film, and it was quite funny. And also, the animation was great.
So, I need you to give a score 1 out of 10. I'm going to put this in the official streamer season logs.
For the memes, 6.9.
Nice.
That's it's like it was not my speed, but I did grow up with it. Typically, movies based on video games suck. Just the Assassin's Creed movies on its own tell you enough about that. But I would say that overall, it was a good movie, all things considered. And I would, if I ever had to do drugs in my entire life and go see a movie, it would be this.
Because you are Steve.
I am Steve. Chicken jockey! Popcorn fucking flying everywhere. Absolute fucking mayhem. Thank God it didn't happen.
Get in the Hole is brought to you by PHI Apparel Company, our incredible merch partners. PHI Apparel Co. provides unique designs and high-quality clothing from t-shirts to hoodies for every golfer around. With their original designs for all, there's no doubt you'll stand out on the course, the driving range, or at the 19th hole. Go to phiapparel.co and use code UNDERGROUND at checkout for 10% off any order. That's code UNDERGROUND at phiapparel.co and grab exclusive Get in the Hole podcast merch and support your favorite golfers.
Hello, friends. Welcome in to Get in the Hole. Kyle Bennett, Ethan Hogan, and myself, Steve McAvoy. Welcome back to another great episode as we end out the Masters, and we are here, episode 200 of Get in the Hole. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and we're talking about how it's almost been my 4th year as of, actually, funny enough, because we're going to the Truist Championship. The week after the Truist is the PGA Championship down in Quail Hollow. Which would only be incredibly fitting for Rory to win the Truist and then go to the place that he's won so many times. And I'll talk more about Rory and other majors in a bit. But how fitting for my 4-year anniversary at this company to come the week after we get our first official media credential to a PGA Tour stop.
We did it.
You know, Rome wasn't built in a day. It took Portnoy like 10 years to get on the map. It took
15.
me 4. 15. Took me fucking 4. So we're doing pretty damn good if all things are considered. But again, welcome in to Get in the Hole, your one-stop shop for all golf news across all tours, LPGA, LIV, PGA, and beyond. And of course, how could we ever be a part of this great network? First of all, as we stream live from the Underground on Underground Sports Philadelphia, coming to you from our live studios here, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your favorite shows. You can find us anywhere at Getting the Whole Pod, and of course at Underground Sports PHI. I want to give a shout out to our awesome sponsors this week, and we start off with Devereux Golf. It's been a tremendous week for golf creators and golf content sponsors alike after the Masters. But I got to tell you guys, there's probably no brand who did the Masters better, in my opinion. While we saw some great fits all over the course, Ludwig Oberg and Adidas brought back the trefoil, which was incredible. Malvin always had a great silhouette for Jason Day. We saw some great stuff from Nike, from other associated brands across the universe, including, of course, Lululemon with Minwoo Lee. But Devereux, despite not having a true full-time member of their staff repping their gear on tour, they may have had probably the best capsule of Journey to the Masters or Journey to Georgia apparel that you could have even asked for. Some absolutely incredible pieces, beautiful hats, some golf towels, polos, sweatshirts, you name it, they had it. And you can get in on some Devereux action. Link in our description. And you can use code WELCOME15 for 15% off or welcome 10. Welcome 10.
Welcome 15 for 15%.
Welcome 15.
Off
I'm sorry.
First order.
We have so many awesome ads that I'm drawing a blank on all of them. Welcome 15 for 15% off your first order at Devereux Golf.
I'll be wearing Devereux at the Truist.
I will absolutely be rocking some Devereux for the Truist. We're gonna have to post like our scripting for the Truist. This is our Super Bowl here.
Yeah,
this is big time.
I might have to do multiple get ready with me's for the Truist with all of my Devereux.
I'm just so excited because probably the week of the Truist, I'm also getting newsflash for everybody, and a spoiler for what content is to come on social. I got brand new irons. They have not come yet. Thanks to our little tariff situation in the government, they are behind in scheduling from Japan. But I got the new Mizuno JPX Hot Metal Pros. Those are in transit hopefully next week, which means I'll have them. My first round of golf might be at the Philadelphia Cricket Club with these clubs. So we're not only going to get an unboxing and a reveal of these irons, but we also might get my first actual live action round there. And how crazy would it be to shoot a career best on a tour stop?
I mean, it would be technically a career best because it's the first time you're using them.
That is true. Well, I mean, for the overall handicap and the gin
the overall club usage,
that is true too. So we'll have to see.
It's called Stevie Spin Zones, baby. Come on,
baby. It's going to be absolutely tremendous. Looking forward to that. Also, speaking of the Truist Championship, like we had mentioned, we do have our credentials fully in hand. Lots of great things coming up the week of May 5th through the 11th. Lots of great content coming your way. We're going to be shooting live on scene at the Truist. Lots of content happening on the course throughout the week. We'll be at Media Day. We'll be at the Creator Classic, the Pro-Am. We'll be across the map, covering the entirety of the event from top to bottom. And you can, of course, stick with us for all that. We're also going to have some great interviews lined up over the next few weeks. We got Bill Hyman from First Tee Philadelphia. Awesome guy. Get to talk to him a lot about how the charitable side of the tourists is making an impact here in the local Philadelphia area. And, of course, we're going to have Joey Chipwood back on, the executive director of the event, to give us an inside scoop. We last spoke to him about a month ago. We got a lot of insight into what is going to happen. But now that we're finally almost literally 15 days away, almost 20 days away, we have solidified information straight from the horse's mouth. The man who put it all together, he will give you the inside scoop on what to look forward to at the Truist in about 2 weeks.
And
Let's start off, though.
I met him at Media Day, too, and I know
yeah.
he's been on the show, but, like, genuinely, like, we had the Media Day call with him, too,
Yep.
but meeting him in person, he genuinely might be one of my favorite people I've ever met. Like, and that's not even exaggerating. And you guys know me, if you know the content we've done and just know me in general, I've met a lot of fascinating people. Joey Chitwood might be in my top 5 of like most fascinating humans I've ever met.
I mean, look, I've told you the same thing, right? I've been covering sports for 6 years. I've interviewed some fascinating people. I talked to Matt Leinart about the one time that he almost took $2 million to sign footballs. And I'm one of the first people he's ever told us to. Like, I've seen some crazy, wild things on interviews. The interview we did with him a month ago is still, to this day, I will listen back to it on my train rides into the office and go, how the hell did this guy end up where he is? And I'm like, that's the career arc that I want. That's what I want to go down this road of hauling gigantic tube TVs up the staircases at Indy Motor Speedway to get to becoming one of the chiefs, one of the C-suite members at Daytona, to go to the Arnold Palmer Group, to manage Bay Hill, and then, of course, to end up where he is now. He previously did the Cognizant, of course, he's doing this event, and the President's Cup at Medina in Chicago. Like, cloud 9 for that guy.
We don't have one yet, but I've told you this off pod, Steve, that genuinely Joey Chitwood would be my 1-1 pick to be on our board of directors for this company.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
and he cares.
Hands down, would 1,000% be somebody I would want on a board of directors for any company.
Like, I'll tell you this much, too, and we got to get started here, but when you look at people in the industry, right, and I'm currently going through sort of a job transition, as you would, and you reach out to people, and there are people who just don't want to engage with you at all. They can care less about who you are. When you find somebody who's truly passionate about their job and cares so much about what they do every single day, to the point that they will go through sleepless nights to make sure that everything is right. They will go through every little logistic to ensure perfection. That's what he does. This guy eats, sleeps, and breathes sports. He grew up in a family of stuntmen, which was literally the inspiration for one day Evel Knievel. He started out in family businesses. He ran the gamut, essentially, on top-tier family businesses from NASCAR to golf, including the Arnold Palmer Group. And he only knows specialized services from small business. And I think that, like, when you look at the backbone of America, right, I'm a big history guy. The backbone of America has always been small business that has grown exponentially, and that one-to-one communication matters so much. When you find someone like him who's so caring about his job, that he will also not only give the shirt off his back to you, but we were there for what, 20 extra minutes with him when everybody else was out of the clubhouse, and he stuck around to talk to us and one other member of the media just to kind of get some small scoops and just say hi. That right there just shows you how much this guy cares, not only about putting on a great tournament that we'll have in Philadelphia, but also just the care and love for the game of golf itself. Mm-hmm. And that's special.
100%.
So let's get right into the top news of the week, as we have so much to discuss here on the A side of the show. We had history this week, guys. History with an exclamation point. Rory McIlroy becomes 1 of 6. That's it. And it's actually terrible, and I want to apologize for everybody because my content has been saying this. I fucked up. I've been saying that Arnold Palmer has the career Grand Slam. I was so dumbfounded to realize that he only has 3. and so I apologize for all my content. He's the 5th player in modern golf history. He's the 6th person ever overall to have the career Grand Slam. Now, Ben Hogan holds the Grand Slam, but that was back when it was only the Open, the U.S. Open, and then the U.S. and European Amateur Championships.
That's Ethan's great grandfather.
Yeah, exactly. So you're no good, dirty, rotten, pig stealing great grandfather. Shout out to Harry Winkler.
Ethan finally carried Rory McIlroy up the mountain.
You will carry Madame Zeroni up the mountain. My favorite quote ever from that movie is when they're on the mountain and Zero goes, "What is that?" And Shia LaBeouf goes, "It's a hot fudge sundae. Eat it." I quote that and say it to fucking everybody. They're like, "Oh, what is this?" I tried to I gave my brother a sushi roll. It was like eel. He goes, "What is that?" I go, "It's a hot fudge sundae. Fucking eat it. Go, take it."
Your brother's the man.
Rory McIlroy made history this week, and I said it on our live show with you and DJ. I legitimately was crying on air watching Rory McIlroy sink the final putt. I don't even know what to say, honestly. The wrath of emotions that he went through in order to get to where he was. I will admit this and be the first person to say it. He didn't play his best golf. And that's no knock to Rory McIlroy whatsoever. But the double on 13, the double on 1, he's the first player in Masters history to win the Masters and have 4 doubles on the week. That was and 2 of them came in the final round. Think about this. He played so well the first 3 days. He had 2 double bogeys in the final round, a 4-stroke swing, and he still won. He let people in. Justin Rose held a lead at one point. He let Rose in. Bryson had a chance to capitalize. If Patrick Reed didn't 4-putt on 13, Patrick Reed is in a 3-way tie for the lead.
Insane.
We had a situation where we could have literally gone to a 3-way tie between Rory, the older and very well thought after Justin Rose, and then the live golfer who everyone hates could have been competing at the Masters for the green jacket. But instead what we got was, in very typical Rory McIlroy fashion, chokes it away, but gives us enough glimmer of hope to still say, you know what? This is still Rory's week. And I said it on Monday for the show leading into the Masters, that there's just nobody on the planet who's better than Rory McIlroy. And whether or not he's losing strokes putting, or he has a bad approach shot, or whatever he does, it's the little things that he does to bounce back that makes you that much greater. Now, we're a Philadelphia podcast. What's the one thing about Rocky Balboa that makes him amazing? It does not matter
how hard you get hit.
It's his heart.
That. But also, it doesn't matter how hard you get hit or how hard you hit. It's about hard. Fuck. It's not about how hard you hit, but it's about how hard you can get hit and get back up. And every time Rory McIlroy did it, Rory's approach shots on 15, 16, and 17, to be able to land the ball that close to the hole every single time over a period, according to some folks on Twitter, is 1 in 28,700. The odds of him doing that ever again are so little. The tweet that I put out on his approach shot on 15, that's a shot that will live forever, the same way that Bubba's shot in 2015 will hold. It's the same shot that Tiger's chip on 16 will forever be remembered. Jack Nicklaus's putt, all of those different things make those are the defining moments. We talk about it with no hitters, right? There's always that one moment in a no hitter where you're like, wow, that's the play that'll always get remembered for saving it, or the close call. Rory just played so tremendous in his bounce back game that just because he had that double on the first, it didn't matter. He came out scorching hot the rest of the way through. He bounced back. He didn't capitalize mistakes. And that's what makes a great golfer otherworldly level. And that's what Rory's done each of the last few weeks when he has won. He found himself down in a hole at Pebble Beach. He came back to win. He found himself in a hole at the Players. Came back to win. He figures out ways to turn the page. You got to be able to get back up and keep on fighting. And then you look at someone like Bryson, who just couldn't sink a putt the whole day and just started to sink and sink and sink. Shane Lowry, same boat. He was third place for most of Sunday. He finished 40th. It's things like that you say, you know what? I need to compartmentalize my emotion, get to a place where I feel comfortable again, and whether it be not taking a risk or laying up on a hole, get comfortable. You knew the second that he made double bogey on 13, the tee shot on 14 was an absolute nuke, and they were like, yeah, it didn't faze him at all. He had zero emotion going out of Amen Corner, and I give him so much credit for it. And you know what? This Grand Slam title, which is really the culmination of all this too, it says a lot about Rory McIlroy, not only as a player, but what it's taken him to get to where he is now. I remember, and we talked about this earlier, when I made that comment about Rory McIlroy at the beginning of the year. Hopefully he listens to the show. Clearly he does. When I said he either silences everybody or he doesn't live up to the expectation that we all wanted it to be. It's been 11 major attempts, 11 times at Augusta National since winning his third, to say, you know what, he has a chance here to get the Grand Slam. And Dylan Dethier at golf.com said it the best in his roundtable with everybody afterwards. He said that now every backdoor top five becomes a high place finish. Every choke becomes a runner-up. Every single win that he has is just another factor into the greatness of Rory McIlroy. It's no longer he chokes. He isn't clutch. He can't get the elusive win that he needs. Rory McIlroy in one stroke went from the guy who chokes a lot, but like is really good and hasn't been the same for a decade, to top 8 golfer ever, instantly. And it doesn't matter how many times he finishes runner-up. It doesn't matter how many times he misses the cut or has a bad shot. He is one of five people in the modern game of golf to do this. And like now, we're talking Rory McIlroy could win every major this year. There is a realistic world where, again, as somebody as hot as Rory could go to Quail Hollow, where he's won 4 times, and win again. Where he goes to Oakmont here in Pennsylvania, and it's a golf course predicated on driving distance. What does he do best? And then you go to Royal Portrush, only an hour away from where he grew up in Holywood, Northern Ireland. Seems like a home game. What if Rory McIlroy goes out and wins every major this year and does the Tiger Slam? It would be insane.
Now, while Rory was great to win and everything, I think a lot of people are prisoners of the moment with, Rory could win every major right now. Could it happen? Sure.
It's far-fetched. As of now, yes.
I think a lot of people are just like far too locked in as prisoners of the moment and what just happened, and like levitating off of the epic, final day that was this year's Masters. Will it happen? Remains to be seen. I do think it's a little far-fetched to like be so dialed in on that take. I wanted to bring this up to you, Steve, because a lot of people have been asking it. Was this the best Masters ever?
In my lifetime, yes. And it goes beyond the person who won it. Because 2019 with Tiger was great. It was a comeback fashion for Tiger. Obviously, he had a lot of tribulation in order to get to where he was. The Bubba shot when he won is iconic. But I think it's the build-up, and it's like that moment where it kind of just felt like the writing was on the wall, right? After the ceremonial tee shots, I remember they interviewed Jack Nicklaus, Tom Watson, and Gary Player. And each of them were asked individually, without knowing that the other one was getting ready to do this interview, who's going to win the Masters? And every single one of them had a very distinctive reason as to why it's Rory's week. Now, Rory sat with Jack Nicklaus last week, and talked to him about, hey, how do I approach Augusta? He played the course multiple weeks, scouting trips before certain events. He told the Jack. He's analyzed everything. His caddy, Harry Diamond, was walking all over the course for about a week and a half. They had him on the grounds at the Women's Amateur. He was walking around and testing things and seeing how things worked. I think that's what makes this week so much greater, is because everyone sort of just like thought there's something about the way the trees look and the sun shines a certain way that it always seemed like it was Rory's week. And with that, actually, it makes me almost feel bad for Justin Rose, because this is now his third straight major that he's had an appearance in, or he's finished second or third. Like he's been on an absolute heater, and as a guy who's only ever won one major, to come this close at 46 years old is a huge credit to him for how great he's been playing. But even when Rory made bogey and went to the playoff, it felt like instantly you just knew Rory was going to win. He was going to do exactly what he did on 15, 16, 17, and then really 18 on the approach shot, and do it all over again. I think that's what makes this Masters great, because the whole week it was like, all right, Justin Rose was off to the huge lead. Day 2 was a lot of Bryson chatter. Day 3 was like, oh, here comes Rory. And like he was always kind of in it, but it's like a horse race, right? You have the horses who start out in the lead, and then you have the guys in the middle of the pack. And it's usually the ones in the middle of the pack for the first 3 days who come out charging in the end and win the race. That was Rory McIlroy this week. And I mean, look, I've only been alive for 27 Masters tournaments. I only remember probably 13 or 14 of them as an overall fan of the game. But I would say this is probably the best Masters that I ever watched.
Yeah, I was like trying to... It's weird that I do not remember the 2016 Masters whatsoever, but I remember 2015.
Yeah, I mean, like, again, there's always going to be the iconic moments and the players. I think also it comes down to who's playing in the event, right? Like,
is 2016 the most obscure Masters winner?
What, Danny Willett?
Yeah.
You can probably, well, Masters winner maybe. You could probably get a little bit crazier. I think Darren Clark's like won. Was it Darren Clark? Somebody else who won the Open. And it was like a one-off in the mid 2000s. Like who? Actually, I found out that Darren Clark was Rory McIlroy's favorite player growing up, which I think is really funny. I would say I honestly don't even remember Danny Willett's Masters. I remember Bubba's. I remember Patrick Reed's.
Jordan Spieth in 15.
Yep, Spieth. Bubba was what, 13?
12. Adam Scott was 13.
That's another one that honestly I forgot about. And also, I was looking at this. Rory's 5 majors. We got to talk about this quick, right? The guys who have the most career majors ever. Like, if you were to take, first of all, like Rory's now tied with Brooks Koepka. And we were talking forever, like, oh, like is Brooks Koepka a top 5 player ever because of his majors? Because like the majors matter more, obviously. But oh wow, like they both have 5. Sevy's got 5. Byron Nelson's got 5. Like he wins one more, he's tied with Phil. Like we're getting into like possible Arnold Palmer territory where you can have like 7 majors, and then at that point you're with the greatest players to literally ever live. Harry Vardon, Gary Player, Ben Hogan, Walter Hagen area kind of guys. But I would say, yeah, like the Adam Scott Masters, I don't recall at all. I saw a stat. It was like if you take Adam Scott, Jordan Spieth, and Scotty Scheffler's majors and combine them, I think it's one more than Rory's got on his own. Now, granted, 3 different guys, 3 different stages of their career, but like crazy to think about.
Also, the 8th straight Masters that the winner has been at least 10 under.
I'm not surprised by that. The course is getting easier as you go along. Just a technological advancement. Speaking of which, though, not to say that like the course is getting easier per se, because the distance is still incredibly challenging. JJ Watt, who's a alleged 25 handicapper, shot a 103, and he's playing from the members. He's about 1,100 yards up total. That, when you think about it from that end, like 1,100 yards makes a huge fucking difference on this golf course. JJ Watt is easily hitting a 4-iron into 13. These players are like debating, do I lay up or like, am I barely going to get it there with a wood at some like junctures, depending on where you land it. That's how challenging this golf course is overall. And it's solely on just distance alone and the challenges that it presents. But yeah, no, there was I don't want to denounce anything from Rory's win because we can go on forever about it, but there's so many different other takeaways from the Masters that I think we have to get to at some point in the show. I'll let you start because I don't know where we want to start with this. We can either go with Jose Luis Ballesteros' hat. We could talk about how everyone said that LIV golfers didn't show up, but they all really showed up. How the featured groups were kind of meh. The Shane Lowry comments on his post-round interview. There's a lot of different ways we can go about this, but I want what was your biggest takeaway from the Masters that wasn't Rory's win?
It was that the late 90s, early 2000s Seattle Mariners were just a team full of photojournalists that also were really good at baseball. Because the fact that Rory McIlroy's winning shots and winning moments were captured by Ken Griffey Jr. is the coolest fucking thing ever. Like, as a 90s baby that I am, the fact that Ken Griffey Jr. is now a professional sports photographer and captured those iconic images at the Masters to capture a career Grand Slam in that way, like that is the coolest, like, minimal storyline that I don't think we're talking about enough. Of like, you had an all-time legend in Major League Baseball, now turned photojournalist, capture the most iconic, weight off the shoulders moment of one of the greatest golfers to ever live, winning the tournament that always eluded him. Like,
it is impressive.
That's a Disney movie. And I'm not even like trying to be funny about that by saying it's a Disney, because it is so goddamn cool. Like, there was a whole photo carousel that ESPN posted of Ken Griffey Jr.'s shots, and every single one, my jaw was on the ground. He is so wildly talented, and the fact that he was able to be at the Masters, capture such an iconic moment in sports history like that, that is like the coolest thing from this Masters, outside of like the final day, which was just an electric Sunday at the Masters. Yeah. But Ken Griffey Jr. stole the show in my book.
It's truly the most game recognizes game sort of like mantra of all time.
Like, Rory had his winning moment with a Getty Images watermark that says Ken Griffey Jr. on it.
It's almost funny to think about. It's actually funny.
That's so cool.
It is. That's sick.
I would say somebody did a Photoshop of Griffey hitting home run number 600, and it said Getty Images Rory McIlroy.
I still think that the best encore story of the week it's still absolutely 100,000% the Jose Luis Ballesteros hat controversy. And it's so stupid, but we're talking more about a hat than maybe the most illicit act in Masters history. Like, let this sink in, right? 10,000 people are watching an amateur who's, by the way, the best amateur in the field, according to the numbers, playing in an event where he is historically, in terms of like Spaniards are representing the game, right? We saw a Spaniard win the women's amateur the week prior. Rahm, of course, Masters winner. Seve has won here as well. And now it's like, oh, all right, he's the next big name in Spanish golf. And you know what? Like he goes to Arizona State. Is no knock on his character. Like, you can be a good person and go to Arizona State. It isn't just a big party school with a bunch of frat dudes. But you show up to the course with the hat with the trendy upside down lettering on it. All right, whatever, cool. I thought it was a cool hat. I was looking at No Rivals brand, and I was like, this is actually like they have a whole like capsule collection for Arizona State. Like, these are freaking dope. I would love to buy one, and I probably will buy one of those like upside down letter hats. But everyone's like, how dare you show up to Augusta National wearing that hat? Meanwhile, and KB, you made fun of me for this. There are people who are showing up to the golf course wearing golf shoes, and they're not playing in the event. All the while, and this is where the story gets great. A small, I think it's the SB Nation editor for Playing Through, is sitting at the 12th tee box, and sees the tee shots go off. And apparently, Justin Thomas had a ball issue. The ball ended up in the grass. He's talking whatever, and Ballester really needed to take a piss. So what does he do? He's like, I'm just gonna go over in the corner. Hopefully, no one notices me. And he takes a piss in Ray's Creek. He comes out. Everyone kind of just like goes on with their day. Afterwards, the same journalist goes, "Hey, like, saw like you did some business. Do you want to talk about that?" And he was like, "Yeah, I would do it again too." And of course, there's a porta potty on the 11th green, as well as on the 13th tee box. So he very well could have avoided this. But how are we talking about a hat more than the fact that this guy essentially defaced the property of Augusta National by peeing in a creek? And yet on TikTok, we have kids, the Minecraft movie, flinging popcorn everywhere, and it's the biggest story of all time.
Now, I have a take. I would also like you to look at the private chat and what I just sent in there. I have a take because Mr. Ballester shot plus 10, missed the cut. I give him credit for just being willing and open to go take a leak the way that he did. It's very funny that the next tee box was just covered in the woods. There were porta potties right around the bend.
Nature calls, by the way. Like, what are you going to do?
So he shot a plus 10. Steve, I think we're not talking about something with this story enough that we're going to have to monitor for quite some time. Obviously, with him being 21 and so young. But Mr. Ballester pissing in the creek. Did he just jinx himself from ever winning at Augusta?
I mean, people are calling for his head to the point that they want him banned from Augusta.
I'm not saying to ban him. Let him keep playing because he's a phenomenal golfer. But, one, did he just curse himself?
He might have.
Two, how does one reverse that curse?
Do it again.
I think the only way to reverse it, because you can't drink the creek water, take a shit in the creek.
Talk about Schitt's Creek.
I need a minute.
We have a conundrum on our hands.
I need a minute.
I've genuinely been waiting to bring this take up to you for the show because I've genuinely been thinking about, did this guy taking a leak in the creek bars at the Masters potentially curse his ability to win at Augusta ever in his career? I have pondered this since this story became public knowledge.
So actually, you know what? I'm now very curious. I want to see what he shot immediately after what he did in that moment. Let's see.
When I saw it, I thought that Augusta would honestly ban him because that seems like a thing that they would do, like for an act like that. I don't know.
So that's what I thought, honestly. And to be quite frank with you, he did end up issuing an apology. I don't think they cared. Like, duty calls. What are you gonna do? I mean, like, you gotta do whatever. And when it's, I've been told from just patrons, the very daunting experience the first time you're ever there, because you're like, you want to see everything and you want to take it all in. So like, when you're playing the game and all of a sudden you gotta pee, and you're on the green, like maybe you can't just wait for the 13th tee to come around. Maybe you have to just do your business. So I can totally understand that he might have just been a bit overwhelmed and was like, you know what, I just got to do it. He ended up shooting 6 over on the second round immediately after he took his piss in the creek. Actually made birdie on 12, by the way. So immediately following his piss, made birdie, parred the rest of the way through. So he went 4 over and then had six bogeys, no birdies on the back. However, I do notice this. He specifically lost strokes putting in the second round, which might mean something. The cup was being elusive. You can play par golf, that's totally fine. But if you can't hit putts, it's like Bryson DeChambeau. Actually, it's like fucking Russell Henley. How I bet the 401k on Russell Henley, and he shot 7 over because he just could not hit a birdie. Yeah. He didn't make a birdie, I think, until his 26th hole of the day.
Now I like Jose. I think he displayed a sense of kind of like modern times to Augusta.
Yeah,
this weekend. So I like that from him. I'm a fan. I would love to have him on the show. But I am genuinely concerned that him using the creek as an old latrine made a potential curse for him and his successes at Augusta until we find a way for him to reverse the curse.
Yeah, and I mean, look, I've also got to say this too. Like, Phil wore off-white shoes. JT's worn joggers. Eric Van Rooyen's worn joggers. Colin Morikawa's worn a hoodie. Like, we've gotten very out of the traditional style at Augusta National. Hell, they're selling egg salad hats at the merch tent. I'm sorry. That's egregious. First of all, like, I don't even understand people buying the hat that says Pimento or Skip It. Like, those things just to me are like, azalea is maybe one thing, but like overall, I don't see the allure. If you're buying a hat that literally is just a white hat with yellow lettering and just says egg salad, we got a problem here. There's been a lot of style faux pas. I mean, like, we can easily point to Matthew Pavan's sweater that also Victor Hovland wore. That had the Gardenscape from Jay Lindbergh. We can also look at what Jason Day wore, where he looked like a carton of cigarettes last year. Like, call it a faux pas, call it style. Say what you will. A backwards hat, a upside down letter hat is nothing, in my opinion, compared to peeing in the creek. Some other things that I want to mention from this week. First of all, everyone on social media bashing the LIV golfers for quote unquote not showing up at the Masters. I don't know if you guys saw the leaderboard, but 4 LIV golfers finished in the top 20, including, like I said, had Patrick Reed not 4-putted on 13, would have probably been in the playoff on Sunday. So that right there, like, clearly people were just not watching the overall game that was going on in front of their eyes. Patrick Reed finished 3rd. DeChambeau finished T10. I think T5, sorry. Bubba Watson in the mix, John Rahm, Tyrrell Hatton, plenty of names pretty high up on the leaderboard, and then a bunch more. Joaquin Niemann probably should have finished top 20 if he didn't compound some stupid mistakes. So the LIV golfers showed up. Everybody also was commenting on how, we can't watch Bryson because of the feature groups, are the same people who clearly have never watched golf in their entire life.
Dang, my man's calling shots at Lil Wayne like that.
I'm sorry, but like, you people have not watched golf because the feature groups are specifically the players who everybody knows, A. B, the leaders group is always in it. So yeah, you're going to watch Justin Rose and you're going to watch Zach Johnson when they're in a top group playing, or JJ Spawn in that case too with Justin Rose. But also, they're not going to play LIV golfers. There was not a single LIV golfer in a feature group this week. Whether that's a bias on the Masters part because the Masters runs the coverage, might be, but you clearly haven't watched golf to think, oh yeah, no, they're going to totally put Bryson in the feature group. Bryson wasn't going to get on there unless he was leading at the tournament. That was it. My final thing on this was, KB, you called Colin Morikawa a big baby because of him not wanting to take media requests after the Arnold Palmer after he lost. Shane Lowry finished, I think, double and then single bogey to finish his third round. He was livid. He ended up going to the media tent, and he said, basically in a much more eloquent way than Colin, he said, look, I just had a terrible end of my round. I need to decompress and unwind. The last thing I want to do right now is talk to you guys. It's nothing on you. You're all great at your jobs, and I appreciate you all for wanting to cover the sport. But I need time to just decompress and materialize what happened and understand it and learn how to get better. And that brought up a question during our live stream of, should players get more of that break? Because we see it in pro sports, in basketball, in football, in baseball, that you do go to the locker room. You get your shower. You can unwind for a little bit. The press isn't immediately swarming the room, or they're usually waiting in a conference room in order to then do post-round interviews. And I know in baseball, they open up locker room access. Players don't really get that luxury. They end up going to the scorer's booth. They score their card, and then basically right outside of the clubhouse, they're going to have the media tent, and you're going to do your interview and then go to the locker room. I personally do think that it's wrong that we, especially in a individualized sport like golf, are forcing players to take media without them being able to go to the locker room, breathe for a minute, have some water, maybe take a shower, because you might need it, and just unwind for 10, 15 minutes. You most certainly can wait. I know you've said it with the PLL. You guys would be waiting there for 20, 30 minutes. In a sport that's so individualized and it takes so much weight on you. We talk about it with Rory, right? You don't see a visceral reaction from players when they win tournaments. It's very much like arms in the air, yay, great. Rory broke down, knees on the ground, crying because of the monkey that was lifted off of his back for a decade. That's the extreme.
Mm-hmm.
But you finish your last 3 holes and you play like crap, and you know what? You're going to want to do what Rory has done on occasion: chuck the ball or the putter, snap a club in half, tear your shirt open in frustration, whatever it might be. Yeah, you know what? In the moment, we're going to call you a baby, but that's just a visceral reaction. And that's what you do in a sport that's so individualized. I do think it's unfair to the players that they don't get time to decompress.
Yeah, and let me be clear, too. I think the way that Colin went about
was wrong. Yes.
His approach was what I took issue with. What Shane said, I'm totally fine with, and that makes sense. That's the proper way to do it. That's the way to go. He's being open and honest, and bringing to light something that should be normalized in a sport like golf. Like DJ and I said, it's the extreme where we've had to wait for 20 minutes sometimes for guys to come into a PLL press conference. It's very far and few between, but it has happened, and it's emotions run high. It's the end of a season type situation, but when it comes to golf and everything, it is almost a weird tradition, for lack of a better term, put in place by media access and having it right away. I think that's silly. At the end of the day, it's a sport. You're gonna have emotions, whether, like you said, they're the extreme high like Rory this weekend or the extreme low, and you need time to kind of just compartmentalize it, decompress, let it kind of sink in one way or another. And for Colin to say what he said, I think he was trying to do what Shane said, but went about it the complete wrong way. And that's why I took issue with it. And then he kind of tried to double down on it, and it just made him sound more douchey. And I like Colin the golfer, But that like rubbed me the wrong way as a fan of Colin and as somebody who's in the media that would want to talk to Colin. I think that's not the right way to go about it. So take note, if you're an athlete, don't do what Colin did, because I think it's almost like diminishing what the job is of the media as well. And I am totally of the belief that being able to talk to athletes and coaches and anybody in an organization or a sport, that's a total privilege when you're in the media. That just enhances what your work is. It's not your right to be able to do that. But to kind of like poo-poo it the way that Colin did was just weird and kind of like holier than thou. And it just rubbed me the wrong way. But what Shane Lowry said was completely correct. Like, they should have time to decompress. They should have time to, you know, kind of wind down so that they don't say anything out of pocket, that they don't say anything that's, you know, out of turn because the emotions are so high or the emotions are so low. You should have, you know, a 15-minute debrief, not only for that, but Steve, you've been in press conferences, you know, in college and everything too. It takes time to get to a media room, get your thoughts going, give the media time to get their questions and what they want to present to the table, you know, in order. I do think there should be like a 15-minute grace period after, you know, all is said and done. And then by the time whomever is walking into that interview room is ready to rock and roll.
Yeah. And I think this brings up a couple of good points. And I don't want to say that Colin is still young and is learning, because that shouldn't be the excuse for 27 years old to figure it out. But I do think that from a professional like Shane Lowry, who's 10 years past his senior, to come out and say that in a much more, I don't even want to say mature way, but just a more calm sense, that just shows like the level of, all right, like I've been here, I've done that, I have had my run-ins at times, and I can just compartmentalize this a little bit better than somebody else who's still relatively young to the game of golf. He's only been in the league for 4 years when you think about it. So, and at that rate, I think it shows, just like the elder statesman speaking, just the better wording there. That also brings me to one final thing, and I sent you a post on Instagram yesterday, and Brandel Chambly has some really bad takes during his time, and he can sometimes be a bit of a doofus, or as Ben puts it, a curmudgeon old man. But he did say one thing really, really interesting to me, and I think it shows, despite being so young, how much of a constant professional Ludwig Åberg is to the game of golf. As somebody who, you look at guys, and like I said, like visceral reactions, right? They matter, and it's what shows that sports are emotional. We talk about how can you not be romantic about your sport, or how can you not care so much? Like my wife makes fun of me because I cried when the Mets lost the World Series. I cried when the Mets lost the NLCS to the Dodgers. I cried watching Rory McIlroy win the Masters. I have no affiliation to Rory McIlroy in any way, shape, or form. But the idea that I have watched this man since I was a little kid, and he's fought his ass off to get to where he is, and to battle for his green jacket, and get the monkey off his back. How can you not cry about it? I cry when Tiger won in 2019. But the losses are so much greater than the wins. And we talk about it a lot in sales, right? You're going to lose a lot. And it makes you a better person because you learn how to take things. Ludwig Åberg, at a very young age, he's never thrown a tantrum. He turns the page. He is polite to everybody. And he doesn't show rage. And while he's a very rare exception to how I totally understand people have emotions and they want to act, he truly is the consummate professional. And I love this man. I think he is a tremendous athlete. He plays fast. He plays smart. He plays with emotion, but deep down, and he knows to turn the page the same way that Rory McIlroy did on Sunday. And this week, really solidified that even though he's played some rough golf, Ludwig Åberg truly, really is like the next best great golfer in this game. And it's his mantra on course that just furthers that point.
Here's my thing, and I like Ludwig a lot. He's Halloween baby. That's my type shit right there. Literally born on Halloween. 99. Shout out to the boy.
Oh, that's spooky.
I like him a lot. I want him to be one of my guys. But here's the thing. He needs to be able to show it to me that he can win one of the big ones.
Well, yeah,
I know he's still young. You know, he's only 25, be 26 on Halloween, but he's good enough right now that he needs to be able to showcase that he can get it done on the big stage. And until then, it's like one of those things that, you know, one of the majors rolls around. I don't know how much faith I can put in him off the rip until he shows me that he can get it done there.
I mean, hey, look, like I don't know the number offhand, but he's got to be one of very few players to start his Masters career with back-to-back top threes.
Mm-hmm.
That's wildly impressive. So like he's proven he could show it, and he's proven he can get to a certain level. And his game is just so all around great. His swing's awesome. He plays fast. He plays smart. I think he will eventually win one. It might even happen this year, even though at this point I'm kind of hoping for that Rory Tiger Slam. It would be amazing to see. But again, as far-fetched as it already sounds, he will eventually get there. But speaking of which, and this is just a larger concept that we're talking about, how we're already in the midst of talking about like Ryder Cup stuff. If you look at the list of winners this year, I think Kyle Porter actually put the tweet out. I'll pull it up.
Kyle Porter, come on the podcast, please.
Normal Sport, by the way, a great newsletter that I've been reading a ton. Should absolutely check him out. But one of the things that I think is fascinating about how we're already talking about Ryder Cup situations as we're here, not only was Zach Johnson trying to play his way onto the Ryder Cup team, had he gone really deep and won, he did finish top 10, which is wildly impressive for Zach Johnson. Would have also been the funniest rollover to know that, like, hey, I didn't do particularly well at Marco Simone, but I'm going to play my way onto this team anyways. Kyle Porter put out a list of all of the recent winners on the PGA Tour, and the fact that the majority of them are European players who will end up probably on the Ryder Cup team, on top of the fact that we had the Fleetwoods and the Lowrys waiting for Rory McIlroy to get off the get off the green to congratulate him, just shows the camaraderie within the European locker room and those guys who are from the UK and Ireland, and how much they truly do care about each other. It's like insane to me how the Europeans, as of right now, still have by far the best chemistry against Team USA. And I don't even know, and hopefully I'm speaking out of my ass right now, and hopefully by September it's all different, because I'm going to be at Bethpage and I want to see the USA win. But just the camaraderie alone versus the idea of the boys club, and unless they find the talent and the cohesion that the Europeans have, it would amaze me that if the Europeans lose the Ryder Cup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
there's just so much talent top to bottom, and the placements and the players who are involved in these wins, it's insane.
Team USA is just like, they have that holier than thou mindset about them and think that they're just better. And newsflash, you big dumb dipshits, you're not. You're not.
No. And it's bigger than you. Even if you don't want to admit it, it's by far bigger than you.
And that's the thing too. That's a great point too. But you, like, the Europeans care, but they also know that they're better. Team USA cares, but they don't know that they are inferior.
So list of winners this year in order. Hideki Matsuyama, he plays in the President's Cup. Nick Taylor plays in the President's Cup. Sepp Straka, European Ryder Cup team. Harris English, America, might not even be on the Ryder Cup roster. Rory, Thomas Dietrich might be on the Ryder Cup roster. Ludwig Oberg will be on the roster. Brian Campbell probably won't be for America. Joe Highsmith probably won't be for America. Russell Henley, he'll probably be there. He deserves it. Rory again, he'll be there. Victor Hovland, he will most certainly be there. Minwoo Lee, President's Cup. Brian Harmon might be a captain's pick. And, of course, Rory once again. That right there, Straka, Oberg, and Rory. And then you add in the clutch factors of Shane Lowry and Fleetwood. and the other players who are going to make up the team, even Justin Rose, prime example. Those right there immediately say Europe's just got it, and they understand. The only way that I think the USA, as of this very moment, can win is if they give Florida resident Corey Connors the ability to play on the USA Ryder Cup team.
Now that's my guy.
The jokes that have been circulating of why is it Corey Connors on the Ryder Cup team? Oh, it's because he's Canadian, but he lives in Florida.
That's my guy right there.
Ryan French has a field day with that one. We got to take a short break. 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. We're going to give you our shout outs of the week. As always, of course, we have a lot more to discuss. We got a big time shout out to the Olympic International Committee. We'll talk about them in a hot bit, as well as where we go from here. The RBC Heritage, the next man up. Of course, what's the PGA Tour schedule immediately after a major if it's not a signature event, right? Or honestly, or preceding it. We'll talk all about that as well. Right here from the underground. Don't go anywhere. We will be right. Welcome back into Get in the Hole. Ethan, KB, and Steve-O here with you. Recording on a late night Tuesday. We got a lot to go over here in the second half of the show. But, of course, we got to start off how all great second half start off on Get in the Hole. We got our shout out to the week presented by Acorn Hills. Can't say enough about the great stuff that Acorn Hills has been putting out. As they change clothing through conservation, you can catch them on acornhillsco.com. You can get all of their amazing apparel, from quarter zips, hoodies, polos. The golf season is in full swing. It's still a little bit chilly up here in the Northeast, so get some outerwear going. And, of course, as we get into the dog days of the summer, their awesome new rope hats are out. They got a new vest out there in the wild. Plenty of awesome sale items as well that you can all find at acornhillsco.com. And you can use code GITH15, that's Get in the Hole 15, for 15% off your next order. And remember, for every dollar spent, the National Forest Foundation will plant a seedling to promote afforestation across this great land. So again, acornhillsco.com, code GITH15 for 15% off your next order at acornhillsco.com, and look your best from the ground up. We start off with a big time shout out to the Justin Rose. I mentioned it earlier in the program. 3 straight major tournament appearances. The PGA from last year, he didn't play in the US Open last year. So the PGA at Valhalla, the Open Championship at Troon, which, by the way, had the lead and got it basically like stolen out of his hands from Xander Schauffele. And now this past week at the Masters, you got a feel for Justin Rose. He's been, the last 2 times he's come really close to winning his first green jacket. Both ended on the first playoff hole. He lost in 2017 to Sergio Garcia. That was also a very, very memorable Masters for me. And then, of course, he loses to Rory McIlroy, another fellow Ryder Cup teammate. But great stuff from Justin Rose. I remember the episode of Full Swing. They talked about Gary Woodland and obviously his brain surgery, but also the adversity that Justin Rose has gone through as an elder statesman of the game, who, for only having one major, is incredibly well respected. He has an incredible track record of winning on both the PGA Tour and the European Tour. He's one of the most decorated players ever. But still, at 46, I believe now, still faces plenty of adversity, trying to figure out, hey, like, when does the buck stop? When am I finally going to end up folding from the game of golf? And he clearly is showing a renaissance in his elder age on tour, which is incredible stuff. As players start hitting it further and they're getting far more creative, Justin Rose just does what Justin Rose does. He's not going to hit it 380 yards. He's only going to hit it 290. But you know what? If he's going to hit it there, his approach game has been phenomenal, and the putting has been great too. So great on Justin Rose. He deserves all his flowers for how well he's been playing as of late.
100%.
You want to ride?
Yeah. Shout out to Nick Dunlap, baby. After shooting an opening round 90, Nick Dunlap fired back and closed out his Masters week with a second round 71 -1. Obviously missed the cut, but good for him, because guess what, everyone? He's just like us for real.
And most guys probably would have quit after shooting a 90. Apparently, he sent his caddy to the local store to buy a bunch of like cheap golf balls, and he was just firing them into his backyard. He had no idea where the backyard ended up. It could have ended up at someone's house, but he unloaded like 75 golf shots and just tried to like diagnose his game in that moment. Again, the average man would have quit, probably would have withdrawn, but to come back and have a 20-shot swing almost is like insane to think about. Like we've never seen guys shoot 80 and then go shoot 60, but we finally seen somebody shoot 90 and then shoot 71. Some crazy stuff from Nick Dunlap. Shout out to Max Homa. Some signs of life finally from Max Homa. He made his first cut since February 4th. That's
shout out to Max.
Nuts. He gained 2.3 strokes overall, all coming on the putting green and on approach. It's the first time he's gained strokes in both of those areas in a single week since dating back to last year's PGA Championship at Valhalla in May, and the highest strokes gained total since that week prior, which was at last year's Wells Fargo. It's his first May cut in, I believe, 6 events. It's great to finally see Max Homa figure it out. It feels like this year has been just abysmal. And whether I've heard people talk about how it's because of the club change to Cobra. It could be just mentality. He didn't have a great end of his last year. But there was a time where Max Homa was at like 12 or 13 top 50 finishes on tour a few years ago. What happened? I'm not really sure, but hopefully he figures out this is a good week to be able to finally figure out and get the tides turning. I also want to give a shout out to the International Olympic Committee. New ad here to the shout outs of the week. Just announced, kind of like went under the radar because no one talked about this within the Masters scope, but the IOC officially allowing mixed matches within the Olympics for golf. So we're now going to see both men and women competing in the same exact event on the golf course, and it starts at Riviera in 2 years in LA, which is absolutely amazing. Super excited for that. We're going to have a situation where we're very well going to see Charlie Hall and Tommy Fleetwood, or we'll probably see, I don't even know the top Irish women's golfer, but you'll see probably Corey Connors and Brooke Henderson. You'll see Scotty Scheffler and Nelly Korda. Oh my God. Like, that's some awesome stuff. And I've been advocating for this since they bought back Olympic golf 6 years ago, 4 years ago. It's great to see it.
I have 3 shout outs of my own.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Number 1, shout out to Michael McDermott.
Yes, stud. This guy has one of the coolest jobs on earth.
So when the Masters cut results in an odd number of players, Augusta National has like a member play in the field. They're not allowed to talk to me. Yeah, they're not. This guy is like brand new. They had a guy for like decades, and he just like stepped down. And
yeah,
Michael McDermott.
So to give a little background too, they had Jeff Knox, who was like well known for beating guys, and like so the spotter, they basically call him, plays in the first group with the first player out to make sure that pace of play is kept, and it's always the best member at Augusta. So Jeff Knox holds the course record. He beat Rory McIlroy multiple times. He even beat Sergio Garcia to the point that Sergio refused to shake his hand after the round. But now Mike McDermott, who's just I think he's a Philadelphia guy too.
Yeah,
I believe. Check. I believe he's a Philadelphia guy. He's a hedge fund manager, I believe, or is big in the finance world, venture capital. And he has like a +3 handicap. He's fucking insane. And he was he's the guy behind the curtain. You never see him on the broadcast, but he is most certainly there. And he kept the pace car Tom Kim going the whole way through.
He went to St. Joe's.
Fucking amazing, dude.
He played with Tom Kim. Tom Kim shot his best round while being paired with Michael McDermott of the weekend. Shot a 72. They're not allowed to talk to the media. There's a couple other rules, but the 2 guys that he ended up playing with, I forget who he played with on Sunday, but both Tom Kim and whoever he was paired with on Sunday played their best rounds of the weekend playing with Michael McDermott.
I love that.
Like, what a legend. Philly guy Michael McDermott, come on the podcast, please.
I believe also the guy who loops with the member. If you remember from last year, I don't know if he worked with McDermott this go around, Don't take my word for it. But I don't know if you remember last year, Tommy Fleetwood's caddy got sick. So he had one of the longtime caddies at Augusta loop for him, and it resulted in a top 5 finish for Fleetwood. I want to pull up his name to make sure that I have it right. But who was it?
Yeah, on top of this, Michael McDermott has 10 major victories in the Golf Association of Philadelphia and won the association's amateur title in 2008, 2013, and 2016. And according to the PGA Tour's article write-up about him, he routinely drives the ball 300-plus yards.
It's amazing.
Like,
now,
what a legend.
Not for nothing, too, right? Like, so the members' tees, as I mentioned earlier with JJ Watt, took 1,100 yards up. This guy was playing from the tips.
Mm-hmm.
And he played well, apparently.
Yeah, Tom Kim shot his best round with Michael McDermott. So shout out to Michael McDermott. My next shout out is the social media manager for Butler men's basketball. Steve, I don't know if you saw this.
I did not.
So back on April 4th of 2011, Rory McIlroy tweeted, "Come on, Butler." And then a couple days ago, Butler men's basketball's official account quote tweeted that tweet and said, "Congrats, Rory. # the Masters."
That's amazing.
What a find from 14 years ago, where Rory was rooting for Butler in the men's championship.
That was the Gordon Hayward Butler Bulldogs, correct?
Yeah,
Amazing.
incredible.
By the way, Rory McIlroy, I don't know his EPL affiliation, but apparently he is a Borussia Dortmund fan in the Bundesliga. So they also tweeted out.
United fan.
You're right. It's Man U. Because they asked him, they're like, "Oh, are you bringing the trophy to Old Trafford?" And he goes, "I mean, if it brings him some wins." Fucking hate Man U. Borussia Dortmund tweeted out, they were like, "From the yellow wall to the green jacket, congratulations, Rory." That got a big stir in the German community.
That's cool.
But fuck Man United.
Another shout out here to the number 1029. That's not just my birthday, but it is the number of balls Bryson DeChambeau hit on the range this week.
They had a graph. It was like who hit the most balls, who hit the least balls. I think the guy who hit the least balls, I believe, if I'm not wrong, was Angel Cabrera. Basically, pulled a John Daly. He showed up, he hit the ball a couple times. Also, talk about the allure of the Masters, right? Freddie Couples in round 1 outshot John Rahm, Scotty Scheffler, Jordan Spieth, and somebody else, which is like amazing. And Bernard Langer came out, I think, 1 stroke short of making the cut in his final Masters. Also, shout out to Bernard Langer for a incredible career, wrapping up his 47th appearance at the Masters. A illustrious career for Mr. Langer. Any last shout outs for you?
I'm double checking. I think I have one more. This was just a very funny shout out. At Toby Tarrant on Twitter quote tweeted Poppy McIlroy converting the lengthy putt on 9.
Oh, great stuff.
And said Rory would have won by about 10 shots if he just let Poppy putt for him.
The only thing more cute than Poppy making that putt was Shane Lowry's reaction, because I believe, if I'm not wrong, Shane Lowry might be her godfather, because they're friends from juniors too. His reaction, because they're playing partners, Shane Lowry might have been more excited for that putt than Rory was, which is so adorable.
And then my last shout out here is to Gary Knox on Twitter at GPrep, because it finally came to fruition. The WNBA draft was earlier this week. Paige Beckers obviously goes number 1 overall to the Dallas Wings. Gary Knox on September 24th, 2013, tweeted a picture of Paige in 6th grade and said, "Remember the name Paige Beckers. 6th grade, think Diana Taurasi, best 6th grade guard I've ever seen, St. Louis Park." Now the number 1 overall pick in the WNBA draft.
That's actually incredible.
12 years later. Insane.
There are very. I made a joke last night. I'm at the Yankees game with my friend Jack, and I go, I say a lot of dumb shit, but when I'm right on a sports take, I'm very right. I'm the guy who said that the Giants should have taken Patrick Mahomes. I have said on multiple occasions that Noah Syndergaard should have been moved to the bullpen, or his career would have nosedived. I made a point at the Yankees game. Forgot what I said exactly, but who was it in regards to? Oh my God. I should know this because I literally said it to him. I don't know what the context was that I said it in. Oh, yeah. I made a comment about how they bought up Volpe too early and how the Yankees' biggest problem is they can't develop. They either bring guys up too early or bring them up too late and it screws them. Our last official shout out of the week, our birthday shout out this week. I love finding the people who you don't traditionally know to be our birthday shout out. Born today, April 15th, in 1887, just down the road from Ethan in Brighton, Massachusetts, Mike Brady, noted as one of the first big-time American professional golfers of the 21st century. He has 11 professional wins, 9 of which came on the PGA Tour, including the 1922 Western Open. I don't know if you know this, but the Western Open has been played for over 100 years. It is now colloquially words known as the BMW Championship, the penultimate stop on the PGA Tour in the playoffs. So he won, technically, the BMW Championship back in 1922. Brady also, speaking of Ryder Cup, we mentioned this multiple times, before the Ryder Cup even existed, there was a one-off event in 1913 called the France versus U.S. professional match. It was 2 days, 1 day of 36-hole foursomes and 4 36-hole singles matches. Mike Brady was in that match, and as a direct consequence of that match, it was originally going to be a Four Nations Cup with Ireland, England, France, and America. The Ryder Cup was then born 10 years later. So Mike Brady, one of the founders technically of the Ryder Cup and its format. So some awesome stuff there. Let's get right in. Yes.
Speaking of birthdays, there's a couple big ones on the docket because we love birthdays on the show. Okay. It's Leonardo da Vinci's birthday today as we record this on Tuesday. That's a big one. It's Seth Rogen's birthday today.
Oh, my lookalike.
And then it is also Jordan Childs' birthday, American gymnast, and Sexy Red's birthday.
Also Emma Watson's.
Yes, Emma Watson as well. And also shout out Jackie Robinson as we record this on Jackie Robinson Day.
There's definitely somebody else. Chris Stapleton. Emma Thompson. Historic. Who else? Come on. Ayaz. Dude, it's Ayaz. I fucking love Ayaz. All right, so I'm in the car the other day, I'm walking to the train in the city, and what song comes on my shuffle but Jordan Sparks' Battlefield? Jesus. And I'm like, yo, this is a fucking banger. I then discover I stumble upon a couple of playlists. One, it's 2000s divorced dad bangers. It was basically the entire discography of Creed, Nickelback, Lifehouse, and Daughtry. Chris Daughtry, dude, is so talented, and we just don't talk about it enough.
Oh,
like,
and
mother
Steve,
of God.
I know you're a card-carrying member of the All-Name Team Society of the World. Ethan, I hope you are as well. Born in 1959 on this day, is a member of the All-Name Team. Hong Kong film director, born in Guangdong, China. Fruit Chan.
Fruit.
That's incredible.
Imagine being named Fruit.
Fruit Chan.
That's fucking incredible. I love it so much. Oh my gosh. So I hate having to talk about this every single freaking year, but the PGA Tour never gives me an option to be able to say, you know what? Let's figure it out. So the Truist falls the week before the PGA Championship. Well, the week after the Masters is the RBC Heritage. Because what makes golf more exciting than making everyone in the most stressful week of the year go right back to another golf course and play the week in a signature event? First of all, before we even preview the RBC Heritage, I want to give a shout out to our friends over at Paramount Plus. You can stream Saturday and Sunday coverage of the RBC Heritage exclusively on Paramount Plus with the Showtime plan. They will be streaming from 3 o'clock. You can catch Jim Nance and the crew just like you saw them at the Masters. You can now see them at the RBC Heritage. Again, stream the RBC Heritage on Paramount Plus with Showtime plan. Link in our description to get in on the action. Do not miss a second of the awesome golf this week. Again, top 75 players in the world taking part in yet another signature event, streaming exclusively on CBS and Paramount Plus. The RBC Heritage loaded field this week. Rory will not be in attendance. However, Rory did commit to the truest, so very well could see Rory McIlroy on the pod. My 3 guests of note that I want to interview the week we're in Philly is Fat Perez, Rory McIlroy, and for the sole reason that I would just love to be able to sit down and talk to him and possibly get a beer, Corey Connors.
I have my 3 as well.
Also, I mean, like Grant would be cool too, but like,
I have my 3.
who you got?
Well, we talked about it today on the phone. If he's Ricky Boys for life, Ricky Fowler, I would genuinely, because I think he's such a genuine dude, and obviously like seeing him in the content creation game and everything he does, I would love for us to sit down with Trent from Foreplay.
Yeah,
Trent is the man. And then by some grace of higher beings, Jim Nance.
I mean, well, that's just like
you gotta shoot your shot, Steve.
There are only 2 human beings on Earth that I would. So probably the coolest interview I ever had was Tom Rinaldi, and I was dumbfounded by how amazing this man is. The only 2 people that I would want to probably talk to more than Tom Rinaldi would be Al Michaels and Jim Nance, and that's it. And I hear Al Michaels, asshole, but the guy's done everything under the sun. And also, like, I grew up wanting to be an announcer. So, like, that to me instinctively is, like, I admire you guys so fucking much. But, yeah,
Jim Nance, number 1.
To have
By
Jim
far.
Nance utter hello, friends, on this podcast.
That would be the intro.
We'll have the button that for the soundboard. We'll just constantly press it.
It would be Jim Nance, hello, friends, and then Scott Van Pelt yelling, "Get the hole!"
Hello, friends. Welcome to the Get in the Hole podcast. Hosted by Steve McAvoy, Kyle Bennett, and Ethan Hogan.
Featuring
Here's your
Jim
host, Steve McAvoy. How amazing, dude, to have Nance narrate the show. Oh, wow. What a world. What a life. Anywho, we got a lot that we've already dug deep into. We're an hour and a half in. Let's dive right into the bets of the week. RBC Heritage, again, loaded field this week. If you want the whole entire scoop on what to expect at Harbor Town, you can check out our episode from last year. But same rules apply. Course has not changed at all. Weather's going to be beautiful all week. Might be a little bit breezy and chilly in South Carolina, but you can expect a lot of really good drives. Driving accuracy is huge. Approach play is immense. And, of course, who will have the hot putter and be able to do very similar to what Rory did to win the Masters? Who can turn the page and not capitalize on mistakes?
Can I bring something to the table like we've done since I've sat in the co-hosting chairs for the past couple of weeks now?
You can bring so many things to the table.
Since I know, we've done course confidentials and everything, but since the name of this show is Get in the Hole, I think we should, when we preview a weekend, we should do our whole of the week.
That would be a great sponsor spot for Dude Wipes.
Just saying.
Can I make a dirty joke?
I mean, we're an hour and a half plus in. The real ones will hear it.
The whole of the week was the bathroom at the Roosevelt Field Mall AMC movie theater. because I downed a
Roosevelt
large popcorn and Nerds clusters, and god damn, I feel bad for the guy that's gotta clean it up.
The Roosevelt. He thought you went chicken jockey in the bathroom.
I am Steve. By the way, you mentioned it in our phone call. You would want to go tarps off with Akshay Bhatia on a call, but you and I would just be so Burt Kreischer'd out, and then his skinny twig ass would be like,
I am the machine.
Like, he would look great tarps off because he's just skinny and good looking, and he has great hair. And then it's just you and I fat asses, fucking Burt Kreischer looking asses.
We'd be reverse bookends.
I would look at me. I look like I'm fucking Seth Rogen. I just don't have to laugh. Like I could do it. I could try, but I'm not Seth Rogen. I'm more Jonah Hill in my laugh.
That's incredible.
Like Peter Brand, Jonah Hill, not like the not even like Schmidt. Like that's a stretch. Do the ad read.
Kenwood Beer, the official beer partner of Underground Sports Philadelphia. It's a refreshing light beer, just 4.1% ABV, 120 calories, just 8 grams of carbs. You guys can go to kenwoodbeer.com, use the Kenny Finder to see who's got Kenwood Beer on tap in the Philadelphia, New Jersey, Maryland, Delaware, and Pittsburgh areas. You can also find Kenwood Beer at your local liquor stores in those markets. Again, that's kenwoodbeer.com. Must be 21 or older to do so. And, of course, please drink responsibly. And if you're gambling with us, which right now I highly suggest you don't, please gamble responsibly. And let's get into it, Steve.
Part the breaks. I predicted accurately the last 2 Masters champions.
Hey, so did I.
Shut up, Ethan.
I got this one.
Shut up, Ethan. I'm kidding. No, I'm proud of you. Oh, Christ alive. We're going to start with a top 20 pick here at the RBC Heritage at Harbortown. It sounds so fancy. The RBC Heritage at Harbortown. It sounds like something at a fucking Bridgerton. Like, where's Jonathan Bailey coming out of the woodwork to announce, now driving, Scotty Scheffler? Would sound absolutely elite. Things I'm looking forward to this week at Harbortown. You want to talk about like holes of the week? The 18th hole is just beautiful with the lighthouse right there on the green, overlooking some nice hazards and a water running through right there on the coast. Some of the things to look out for this week. The short game is going to be immense, like I had mentioned earlier. Greens and regulation percentage, and how guys play on Pete Dye courses. This is one of the first Pete Dye courses of the year. It's a very much a second shot golf course. It's a placement golf course. You need to be able to play really good approach shots, really good proximity to the hole. And for that reason, my top 20 selection here at the RBC Heritage, which, by the way, also had a pretty decent betting week overall. I had the 2 picks right, almost 3 picks right. Who am I taking this week for a top 20? I'm going to start off my betting card with Daniel Berger for a top 20 selection.
I'm right near you in the odds range. I have Berger at plus 125 where I'm looking right now. I'm taking Dr. Chipinski plus 130. Let him cook.
Minwoo. I love it. All right. Top 10 for myself. Let's see who we like. I'm going to go with Tommy Fleetwood. Tommy Fleetwood at plus 225.
Not too shabby. Not too shabby.
He's a pretty handsome fellow, right?
You said top 10, right?
Indeed. I'm still on top 20. Look at that. Top 10.
I'm going to go Jason Day plus 260.
You know, it's interesting because players who finish really well at the Masters tend to struggle at the Heritage, which is like the only exception to that is Scotty Scheffler when he won both events last year. But like Fleetwood finished 21st, Daniel Berger finished middle of the pack. I think both picks were really well. Jason Day finished high up on the board. Minwoo kind of struggled a little bit. So I'm really liking the pick of Minwoo Lee. My top 5 selection This is one of his favorite golf courses, and he always thrives here. He's tremendous on peak dye courses. His greens and reg percentage has been really high, despite not necessarily playing the best golf. And his losing streak has been kind of faulty. But I'm going to go Patrick Cantlay for a top 5.
Plus 330.
Yeah, some pretty good numbies on Patrick Cantlay.
I'm going a little non-traditional here. I'm going to give you a regular top 5, but I'm also going to give you a top 5 2-pick parlay as well.
Wow.
So my top 5, just standard pick, is going to be Corey Connors plus 400, my guy. And my top 5 parlay is going to be the combination of the aforementioned Scotty Scheffler at minus 125, along with Shane Lowry at plus 450, to give you a nice little 2-leg parlay of top 5 finishes at plus 890.
Interesting. Very interesting. I don't know if I would do that, to be honest with you. I don't hate it, but I saw a tweet, and it was like Shane Lowry whenever anybody wants to bet him, and it's just him totally missing the green at the Valero and like landing it in the water.
Those tweets kill me.
Ugh, it's so sad.
There was one where it was like Bryson DeChambeau when I bet American currency on him, and it was a giant golf cup, and the dude just missing with a mini golf putter.
So my gimme pick this week, I'm going to give you the official, but I'm also going to give you a parlay as well for this one. And the odds here are significant. So I'm going to go with a top 20 performance for Akshay Bhatia. You can get him at plus 160. I'm also looking at somebody really deep on the odds board to parlay him with. Now, first of all, I want to give you the reasoning on Akshay. He's been so good at driving the ball this year, and he's been incredibly accurate. The ability to not only hit it far, but hit it straight is a huge commodity, particularly at Harbortown. He finished top 3 at Sawgrass, another peak dye golf course. Again, a second shot placement course. He's shown great competence, and I think like Akshay Bhatia could very well win this week as well, because he possesses a lot of the skills that you want to see. What I'm going to pair him with has been one of the best accurate drivers of the golf ball, and not particularly the furthest, and also one of the best short game players that we have seen. He's 22 years old. His recent top performances came a T3 at the Wyndham, top 17 at the RSM Classic, and he had a top 5 at the Valero, a golf course very similar, like what Akshay Bhatia won last year, that does require a lot of second shot skill. I'm going to go at plus 330 on the odds board. Ryo Hisatsune, the Japanese 22-year-old phenom, at plus 330. So you parlay both of those together, your odds jump to about 10 to 1. $10 to win about 111. If you bet Akshay and Hisatsune for a top 20. I probably butchered his last name, so I apologize. But those are my plays.
My gimme pick of the week is a top 20 finish for Victor Hovland at minus 105.
Top 20, you said?
Yes.
Perfectly noted. Thank you. The winner at the RBC, I will let you start before I go.
I mean, again, I think it's just malpractice if you don't put a little coin on Scotty at plus 360. I will say that anytime Scotty has great plus odds to win, I will also give the winner without, and I will also conjure up the KB parlay of the weekend for you after this as well. But I'm going to give him another chance because this is a weekend with another. This is the plaid jacket, right?
Yes.
I would love to see Ludwig wear the plaid jacket, so I'm going Ludwig to give me a little redemption here and put a notch in the belt for him on his journey to becoming certified Stamp it, my guy.
Let's see. So my winning pick, and then I will give you my parlay of the week, which is also just going to be a straight up top 30 parlay, because we're not only playing it safe, but we're playing it smart too. I start with my winning pick. Like I said, players who play well at the Masters tend to not necessarily play great at the RBC Heritage, and it's usually because you exert so much at the Masters that you just kind of come up a little bit short. This guy has been playing some great golf as of late. I'll pull up his numbers real quick too, so I can give you some further backing on how well he's been playing. He's statistically, as of right now, the 5th best player in the world, despite having basically a year run where he has gone from all the way down in the 60s over a year and a half to where he is now. He's one of the best players around the green, one of the best players on approach. The putting has been really good. He's been gaining some tremendous strokes. He finished 2nd at the Valspar. He has a trio of top 5s at the American Express, the Waste Management, a top 10 at the Genesis. He plays well in the big moments, and he struggled a little bit at Augusta, and it's largely because his accuracy and his distance off the tee were just simply not very good, even though he usually is a much better player. But when he can drive it far, he plays his best golf. I'm going to go at 20-1, Justin Thomas to win the RBC Heritage and claim the plaid jacket.
That's bold. I have the winner without right now pre-tournament for everybody.
By the way, fortune favors the bold.
We'll see when JT is on the final day, and if he is anywhere close to the top, I will be betting whoever is against him until further notice. The winner without right now pre-tournament, this is the bet where I say look at it live, because that is where you get the most fun and the most traction when you're paying attention to golf. Right now, the winner without, Steve, it's winner without Xander, Colin, Scotty Scheffler, and Ludwig.
My God.
At plus 1,200, it is a tie between the aforementioned Justin Thomas and Patrick Cantlay.
It's pretty good.
Corey Connors is plus 1,600. Shane Lowry and Russell Henley are plus 1,800. Victor Hovland, Tommy Fleetwood are plus 2,000. Jordan Spieth and Jason Day are plus 2,500. Aaron Rai and Sepp Straka and Robert McIntyre and Sunjay Im are all plus 2,800, and then everything else gets to plus 3,000. Minwoo Lee plus 3,000 there as well.
My parlay of the week, I am going to go 5 legs, top 30s across the board. As I said, players who play well at Augusta don't always necessarily play well at the RBC Heritage. Therefore, I'm not taking Corey Connors. I'm not taking Justin Rose. I'm going straight up top 30s across the board with some of the lowest ranked, some guys who missed the cut, some guys who did end up making the cut but played some pretty rough golf. Tommy Fleetwood at minus 200, Asha Batia at minus 110, JT Poston at minus 110, Sepp Straka at minus 150, and I will round out the top 5 train with JJ Spawn at minus 120. Those 5 all for top 30 finishes nets you $167 on a $10 bet. You're about 15.7 to 1.
I also found a little fun prop here with like top finishes based on country of origin. There's a rest of the world tab on DraftKings. Minwoo Lee is plus 800 on the rest of the world. The only players better than him are Sunjay Im at plus 650, Jason Day at plus 600, and Corey Connors at plus 400. But my parlay of the weekend is going to be this right here. We are going to go Minwoo Lee top 20 at plus 160. We are going to go, where's he at? Victor Hovland top 20 at plus 115. We are going to go Xander top 5 at plus 300. And we're going to go Scotty top 5 at -105.
Shit.
That is a 4-pick parlay at plus 4,265 on the odds. $10 to win $436.55.
I have one more bet that I'm going to make this week. It's going to be my first round leader bet. And I will close out the week with this. I'm going to go Aaron Rye, first round leader. Double glove, iron covers. Aaron Rye, 40-1, first round leader at Harbortown.
Sheesh.
Sheesh. There you go. And there you have it. That is it, guys. Getting the whole episode 1. No, not 1. We're in the 2s now. 200.
Oohs.
Give some deuces out here. That's going to do it all for us here. Episode 200 of the premier golf podcast in America, Getting the Hole. Be sure to follow us on all socials at Getting the Hole Pod, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and the like. We're getting a lot more into the social game. I'm getting all in on TikTok. It's been posted almost every single day for me. Some topic in the golf world I will be posting tomorrow as well. And, of course, at Underground Sports Philadelphia on YouTube. And you can find all your shows from F1 to lacrosse, soccer, streaming, and beyond, all available at our flagship at Underground Sports PHI on both Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Of course, on our platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, be sure to leave a 5-star rating, leave those comments, keep on engaging with us. Shout out to our partners, Paramount Plus, Devereux Golf, Kenwood Beer, Acorn Hills, and everybody else who we have failed to mention in this episode. Thank you guys for your continued support. For Kyle Bennett, Ethan Hogan, I'm Steve McAvoy. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for listening to Get in the Hole, the official golf podcast of Underground Sports Philadelphia. Catch us every week wherever you get your favorite podcasts, and be sure to like and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Get in the Hole Pod, and follow Underground Sports Philadelphia at Underground PHI. We'll see you next time, and remember, get in the hole!